Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're going deep on an agency that has a surprisingly big impact on your wallet.
Yeah,
The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau.
or CFPB for short.
Exactly, the CFPB. You might be dealing with a financial issue right now, or maybe you're just curious about how this agency plays a role in your everyday life.
It's a big one.
Either way, get this, the CFPB has helped return over $21 billion to consumers.
Amazing.
That's not a typo billion with a B.
Billion with a B.
So let's break down exactly how they do it.
Yeah, so the CFPB's mission boils down to three main things.
Okay.
First, they work to stop unfair or deceptive or abusive practices in the financial industry.
Okay.
Think hidden fees buried in that credit card agreement you didn't read.
Right.
Or predatory lending practices that target communities who are already struggling financially.
Right.
The CFPB is there to make sure those things don't happen.
That's a relief. I know I've definitely felt lost in the fine print before.
Oh, yeah?
Like, what is this even saying?
It's designed to be confusing. So their second goal is to make sure there's no discrimination when it comes to financial services.
Okay.
Everyone deserves equal access and fair treatment, regardless of their background.
Right.
And finally, they want to give you the tools and information you need to make smart financial decisions.
So they're not just playing defense, they're helping us be better financial players ourselves.
Exactly. And the impact they've had is pretty remarkable. Remember those frustrating overdraft fees that used to feel unavoidable?
Oh, tell me about it. I felt like I was getting penalized just for being a little short on cash.
Well, the CFPB stepped in and pushed for changes to how those fees are handled. The result? An estimated $6.1 billion in annual savings for consumers.
Wow.
That's money back in people's pockets. Money that can be used for groceries, rent, or even just a little breathing room in the budget.
That's incredible. So besides tackling those everyday annoyances like overdraft fees, what are some other examples of the CFPB taking action and actually making a difference?
One area where they've really stepped up is medical debt. They work to get millions of medical collections under $500 removed from credit reports. You see, having those small debts on your credit report can really drag down your score, making it harder to get loans or even rent an apartment.
Right.
By removing those smaller debts, the CFPB is helping people get back on track and build a stronger financial future.
It's amazing how something that seems so small, like a $500 medical bill, can have such a big impact on someone's life.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's just one example. The CFPB is constantly working on a wide range of issues that affect consumers every day.
Okay, so we know they're doing a lot of good, but how exactly do they do it? It feels like they have their hands in everything.
One of their most powerful tools is their ability to handle consumer complaints. They act as a voice for individuals who feel they've been wronged by a financial institution. In fact, they receive millions of complaints each year.
Millions? That's a lot of people reaching out for help.
It is, and those complaints aren't just filed away and forgotten.
Right.
The CFPB actually investigates them and uses that information to identify patterns of bad behavior in the financial industry.
Oh, wow.
They then take action to stop those practices and get compensation for those who've been harmed. They're especially focused on problems with credit reporting, medical debt, and student loans.
Those are definitely hot-button issues that I think a lot of people can relate to. I'm guessing those complaints give the CFPB a pretty good idea of what's really going on in the world of personal finance.
You're absolutely right. It's like having a direct line to the concerns and experiences of everyday consumers.
So they're fighting for us when we file complaints. But I'm curious, what resources do they offer for people who are just trying to get their finances in order or learn more about how to protect themselves?
Well, their website is an incredible resource.
Okay.
It's like a one-stop shop for all things consumer finance. You can find answers to common questions, read educational articles, and even access tools to help you budget manage debt and plan for the future.
It sounds like a gold mine of information.
And they make it really easy to navigate. They even have a searchable database called Ask CFPB, where you can find answers to just about any financial questions you might have.
Nice.
Plus, they offer translated materials in 8 different languages, so it's accessible to a wide audience.
Wow. 8 languages. That's a commitment to making sure everyone can understand their rights and make informed financial decisions.
Absolutely. The CFPB really wants to empower consumers and make sure they feel confident navigating the often complex world of finance.
It's amazing how accessible they've made all of this information. It seems like the CFPB is really going above and beyond just responding to complaints. Are there other ways they're shaping the financial landscape to be more consumer-friendly?
Absolutely. They're not just reacting to problems, they're also proactively working to prevent them in the first place.
Okay.
One way they do this is through rulemaking.
So they actually have the power to create and enforce rules that protect consumers.
That's right. They look at the market, identify areas where consumers are vulnerable, and then create rules to address those issues. For example, a few years ago, they introduced a rule that requires payday lenders to verify a borrower's ability to repay before issuing a loan.
That makes so much sense. It seems like common sense, but I bet that wasn't happening before.
Unfortunately, not payday loans are often marketed towards people who are already struggling financially, and without proper checks, it's easy to get trapped in a cycle of debt. This rule is just one example of how the CFPB is using its authority to create a fairer and more responsible lending environment.
So they're setting the standards for how financial institutions should be treating their customers. It sounds like they're constantly monitoring the industry for potential risks and bad behavior.
Exactly. They're like a watchdog, always on the lookout for new threats to consumers. They even have a team dedicated to researching emerging trends in the financial marketplace and identifying areas where new regulations might be needed.
It's almost like they have a crystal ball trying to predict what's going to be the next big issue.
Well, they're certainly using data and analysis to ahead of the curve. It's not just about punishing bad actors after the fact. It's about preventing harm before it even happens.
I bet that involves a lot of collaboration with financial institutions as well, right?
Absolutely. The CFPB recognizes that a healthy financial system benefits everyone, and they're committed to working with both consumers and financial institutions to achieve that goal.
So it's not just an us versus them mentality. They're trying to find solutions that work for all parties involved.
Exactly. They provide guidance to financial institutions on how to comply with regulations and even offer resources to help them develop consumer-friendly products and services.
That's a really interesting approach. I like that they're not just coming down hard with penalties, but also working to educate and empower those in the financial industry to do the right thing.
It's all about creating a more sustainable system in the long run, one where consumers are protected, but also where financial institutions can thrive and innovate responsibly.
Okay, we've talked a lot about all the great things the CFPB is doing, but I think it's time to zoom out and think about what this all means for our listener. If someone is tuning in, they're like, okay, that's interesting, but how does the CFPB actually affect me? What would you say?
Well, even if you've never filed a complaint with the CFPB or visited their website, their work is likely having a bigger impact on your financial life than you realize.
I can see that. It's easy to forget about the regulations and behind-the-scenes work that goes into making our financial system function.
Think about it. The fees you pay on your bank account, the terms of your mortgage, the information on your credit report, all of these things have likely been shaped in some way by the CFPB's actions. They're working to create a fairer and more transparent financial environment for all consumers, even if we don't see the direct results every day.
That's a really good point. It's kind of like the air we breathe. We don't always think about it, but it's essential for our well-being.
Exactly. And the CFPB is working hard to make sure that financial air is clean and healthy for everyone.
So even if we're not directly interacting with the CFPB, we're still benefiting from their efforts to keep the financial system in check. But let's say someone is facing a specific issue, like they're struggling with debt, or they feel like they've been treated unfairly by a financial institution. What would you recommend they do? So if someone's in a situation where they need help, where should they start?
The CFPB website is a great first stop. It's packed with information and resources, whether you're dealing with debt discrimination or just want to learn more about your financial rights. You can file a complaint, find answers to common questions, and even connect with counselors who can provide personalized guidance.
It really does sound like a one-stop shop for all things consumer finance.
And they make it easy to use, with clear language and a user-friendly design. Plus, remember, they offer translated materials in multiple languages, ensuring accessibility for a diverse range of individuals.
That's fantastic. They seem truly dedicated to meeting people where they are and empowering them to take control of their financial lives.
Exactly. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to finances. The more you understand your rights and options, the better equipped you'll be to make informed decisions and protect yourself from potential harm.
That's a great takeaway. So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of the CFPB, what are the key points you hope listeners will remember?
First and foremost, the CFPB is a powerful ally for consumers. They're fighting for fairness and transparency in the financial marketplace, and they have a proven track record of helping people reclaim billions of dollars in lost funds.
They're not just sitting in an office somewhere. They're actively shaping the financial landscape to be more consumer-friendly through their rulemaking and enforcement actions.
And importantly, they offer a wealth of accessible resources, including their website, Ask CFPB database, and complaint handling process.
So whether you're facing a specific issue or just want to become a more informed consumer, don't hesitate to reach out to the CFPB. They're there to help.
Absolutely. Be proactive, be informed, and know that you have rights when it comes to your finances.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the CFPB. We hope you learned something new and feel empowered to navigate the financial world with confidence. Until next time, stay curious and stay informed.